Hello and welcome to Football Night in New York, Living Room Edition. I'm Jeane Coakley alongside Jonas Schwartz and Eamon McEnany. And guys, busy week for the Jets once again. Earlier this week, they released guard Brian Winters and released wide receiver Quincy Enunwa. And a shocking move, CJ Mosley decided to opt out due to concerns over COVID-19. So Jonas, the Jets lost two of their top defensive players in 2 weeks, CJ and Jamal Adams. How worried are you about this defense?
It's impossible not to be worried about the defense at this point. Now, you do feel good because Greg Williams did such a masterful job last year, mixing and matching parts and working through key injuries. But, I mean, look, the one thing everybody who watches the Jets thought, even after the Jamal Adams trade, is, hey, at least we're going to get C.J. Mosley for a full season injury, hopefully no injuries this time, and how dominant he was for 3 quarters against Buffalo in the opener last year. And you saw the difference when he was in there. So everybody was looking forward to that. And there was no hint that he was going to opt out. And look, we all respect that with what's going on in the world, that everybody has to do what's right for their family. So that, first and foremost, for C.J. Mosley, we get it. But from a football standpoint, it was such a gut punch to the Jets because they are now obviously weaker than they would have been with C.J. Mosley in there. Now, thank goodness, Avery Williamson comes back. Thank goodness, Avery Williamson, there was a lot of talk about him being a cap casualty. Thank goodness he was not. So it really worked out in this way to where the Jets will have to make up for it. I don't know if they can, but if they were going to try, Greg Williams is the defensive coordinator to try and do it.
Well, Jonas, that's putting a ton of faith in Greg Williams, and I understand he has the track record to have that faith in him, but you take away your 2 best defensive players. I don't care how good a coordinator you are, how good a scheme you come up with. When you lose 2 talented players like that, look, I understand he made it through last year without Mosley, but when you lose Adams and Mosley, that is a major blow. I don't know how Greg Williams can cook up some scheme and blitzes to overcome that major talent loss in Mosley and Adams, Jeane. That's just a major blow to that defense.
And a guy like you said, Jonas, that at least they're getting back is Avery Williamson. He's coming off that torn ACL, but he's a guy who the Jets were, like you said, was going to be a cap casualty. Well, I caught up with Avery Williamson, and he's actually very excited to prove he's the guy now. Weird being back. What's it like being back in this situation?
Yeah, it's definitely was weird being back. I hadn't been back since the March 14th weekend. So being back, circumstances of COVID, everything is just different. It definitely was weird at first. It's kind of, starting to get used to it more. But it's definitely just like, everything is just, you never know.
Is week 1 the goal? You're going to be able to play and healthy week 1?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. I feel like I'm doing a good job. I'm trending upward every day, and my knee's feeling good, and really happy with now that I'm running every day. I was running like every other day when I was in Birmingham, and the most I would do back to back is like 2 days. So the fact that I'm doing multiple days of running and my soreness isn't bad, like it's really showing us a lot of upside. So I'm excited and just ready to just keep increasing the workload and just be ready for week 1.
For you in this defense, this last week and a half, Jamal gets traded and then CJ decides to opt out. For you, how has that been for you?
Yeah, it's definitely some things didn't expect, but just got to kind of roll the punches, and you just never know what could happen in the season. Well, we haven't even started the season yet, but you just never know what could happen. Definitely didn't expect those 2, but we just got to have that mentality of next man up, and we definitely have some talent on the team, and I feel like we can definitely do a good job of filling in those spots.
How disappointed were you? Because I know I talked to you earlier, in this offseason. You're so excited to be able to play with CJ. How disappointed were you?
Yeah, I definitely was. Was upset to see him opt out, but at the end of the day, that's his decision, and as my friend and teammate, I'm definitely gonna support him, and but I definitely was looking forward to, making some plays out there with him this year.
Do you feel a little more pressure because, again, CJ's not going to be playing with you and Jamal's not out there?
Shoot, at the end of the day, it's always pressure. So if you're not feeling pressure, then you probably shouldn't be playing. So, just try to keep a clear, cool head and just go out there and do my job. That's all you can do.
And guys, as far as the Giants linebacker situation, they're able to re-sign their sack leader, Markus Golden. And with that being said, after what we just talked about, the Jets losing C.J. Mosley, Eamon, is Markus Golden the best defensive player in town?
I tell you, Jonas, this argument was a lot more fun when we were kids and it was Klecko or LT, or even about 10 years ago, Revis or Strahan. Look, I don't think, Markus Golden, double-digit sacks, double-digit snacks. You can't, stick your nose out at that. But I still think when you take a look at the rosters for both teams defensively and talk pure talent, I'm going with Leonard Williams. I know the gaudy stats aren't there. I know Jonas was frustrated by his career with the Jets and loved the trade with the Giants. But I talk pure talent defensively on the Jets and the Giants. I'm picking Leonard Williams first, Jonas.
Listen, Leonard Williams, as you said, great guy, very solid player. The expectations never lived up to in terms of being a disruptive force. Now, so I'm going to give you a guy that I am hopeful will be the best player in New York, and that is Quinnen Williams. And I say that because, listen, the high draft pick, he has all the talent in the world. He was set back last year by an injury early in the season. Already Greg Williams has talked up big time what he can do this year. One thing Mike McCagnon had done in the past, we saw it with Sam Darnold, we saw it with Quinnen Williams, he drafted guys who were really young. And, they weren't 23 or 24. They're all 21, 22. So Quinnen Williams is a young guy who I think is coming into his own. I think it will happen this year. I think he's got the talent to do it. We haven't seen it yet. I mean, there are other guys, but let's be honest. With no Mosley, no Adams, all of a sudden when you're looking at the defensive rosters for the Jets or the Giants, there's not as much there as there are in other cities. So we have to project people and everything else. And by the way, as far as Golden goes, as good as he was, he sat out there in the free agent market. Nobody else even took a shot at him. So you say what you want, Dave Gettleman, about how maybe the Leonard Williams trade didn't work out. He played the Golden situation perfectly.
All right, one thing you guys can agree on is that Williams is the best defensive player in New York right now.
Yes, yes.
All right, time now for what are the odds? And the odds, rookie head coach Joe Judge is named Coach of the Year, is plus 4,000. So you bet $100 you're going to win 4,000. Adam Gase also plus 4,000. Sure, you guys I don't even need to ask you guys who the favorite is. Bill Belichick at a plus 1,000. So with that being said, which coach is facing more of a challenging job this season? Is it the rookie Joe Judge with this whole pandemic, or is it Adam Gase, who just lost 2 of his top defensive players? Jonas.
So a couple things. I think Gase is under more pressure to win now. I think Judge will have the tougher job only because it's his first go-round as a head coach, and he needs to establish a program in the strangest of circumstances, with no preseason games, with no true ability, as other coaches have done in the past, to evaluate players throughout a normal training camp. I think it's going to be very hard for him to do that. All that being said, he gets a pass this year. I'm not sure Adam Gase gets that pass from really anybody at this point, Eamon, because of obviously all the expectations and all the things that have gone on already with his year-plus time in New York.
There is no pass for Adam Gase. I mean, certainly everything you said about Joe Judge is spot on. You read stories and articles about how they had to have a rehearsal with the coaches just where to stand on the practice field. They're so behind the 8 ball putting together their programs. But you talk about Adam Gase, Jonas. And look, we're not in that locker room, but certainly it sounds like a fractured locker room. His buddy Jamal Adams did him no favors with that parting shot on his way out of town in the Daily News. So I think Adam Gase first has to win back his team, win back his locker room, and then he's going to have to win some games. So I think the more challenging year is for a guy who's never been a head coach before, dealing with it in a pandemic and virtual Zoom meetings with his team. But the bottom line is, if Adam Gase doesn't win, he's gone. So the bigger challenge is Adam Gase, because he has to win this year with a makeshift roster on the fly as well, Jeanette.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting year, as this was an interesting football night in New York. Living room edition. Jonas, can you clean up after you leave my living room?
Yeah, hold on. Stay with me here, because I want to walk over and show you the favorite picture that I have of my new living room. And it's right there. Look at that. I'm part of the Burrell family. Look at that. Perfect.
Yeah, I think
handsome-looking family.
I think this is what the kids refer to as FOMO. I can't believe I didn't make it out to Connecticut for this football
so
night.
You're not kidding. By the way, I'm gonna dust and I'm gonna sweep up and mop before I go.
You got to come to Connecticut, Eamon, in order to enjoy the living room edition.
Absolutely.
All right, for Eamon McEnany, Jonas Schwartz, I'm Jeane Coakley. We'll see you next week.